The Jedi Order wasn't perfect, which exactly none of you should be surprised to hear. As a result, there were many Jedi factions that broke off from the Order with condemnation from the Council, not all of which really deserved it. In this video, more for fun than anything, we'll be taking a look at a few of these splinter groups and what would have changed if, in some way, they'd been the ones leading the Grand Army of the Republic during the Clone Wars. It's almost impossible that any of these scenarios could have occurred or that any of them would have had the numbers to lead the GAR, but for the sake of argument, we'll be ignoring that today.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
First and foremost, we should clarify that the answer to the question of what would change would be not much. Most of the differences we'll be looking at today will be philosophical or involve minor changes in leadership style. Battle philosophy would likely be the most heavily impacted, and things like how the clones felt and were affected by their leaders probably wouldn't have changed at all. First off, let's talk about the Grey Paladins, as we've already discussed them as a group in a previous video of ours, which we recommend watching before you continue this video. The biggest visible difference between the Grey Paladins and most Jedi was the array of exotic weaponry that they used, but this would have made literally no difference in the general scheme of the war aside from making General Grievous a bit less enthusiastic. What would have changed is the philosophy of the Grand Army of the Republic. The Grey Paladins were much more action-oriented than the Jedi were, believing in a sort of active defense that the Jedi Council wrongly saw as bordering on the dark side. The GAR would have fallen in line quite easily with this philosophy, and it may well have made them more effective. The next faction we'll be discussing is the Baron Do, a group of Keldor sages that had been integrated into Darinian society for thousands of years by the time of the Clone Wars. They were very friendly with the Jedi Order and might actually have had a degree of involvement with the GAR, but if they'd been the ones in charge, things might actually have been much different. For one thing, members of the Order were not required to train in combat, meaning that they would probably have led the GAR from the rear rather than from the front. But on the other hand, this might have had massive positive impacts for the GAR. The Baron Do focused their training on foresight so as to predict storms on Dorin, and this training would have been invaluable to supplement Republic intelligence and account for its failures. A less well-known Jedi splinter group was the Pontentium, a group of outcasts that believed there was no light or dark side, only the Force itself, which could never be evil. Rather, they believed that the potential for good and evil was based purely in Force users themselves, and that if intentions were pure, Force users could use any technique they wanted without fear of the dark side. You can probably imagine what the Council said this would lead to, and whether they were right is a matter of debate. As far as the GAR goes, however, it's possible that the Potentium might have been more open to the plights of the Separatist worlds than the Jedi were, which could have led to less resistance to Republic occupations. But that's just a theory, a Star Wars theory, and as per usual guys, I want to know what you think. Are there any other interesting Jedi sects that you know of and you'd be interested in hearing about? Feel free to post your thoughts in the comments section below. And just before you go guys, you know the drill, I've got all of these juicy links in the description below waiting to be clicked, all leading to fun places where you can interact with other Star Wars fans, such as our Geetsly's gaming network, our Discord servers, and if history is more your thing, I do have a second history channel as well. So make sure you check them all out guys, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.